Oh, yeah. Is it Saturday already? Have we made it through yet another week of Star Wars? Wow. Episode 5 of Skeleton Crew was by far my favorite episode of this show, and I think we can get even better from here. But how it's going to end might just shock everybody. I got some pretty crazy theories about how the Skeleton Crew show will come to an end, possibly including Grand Admiral Thrawn, or maybe even Luke Skywalker himself. But we got a lot to get into and not a lot of time, so let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? Yes, we are a little bit later today, but that's okay. That's okay. Star Wars never sleeps. We're fine. It's a 4 p.m. live stream instead of a 2 p.m. live stream. That's okay. I will give you a little bit of a why I was late today. I was eating turkey. So if I start going like this, it's just because I just had a big ass dinner and I'm feeling that turkey setting in. Okay, so we got to talk about Skeleton Crew because episode 6 is just in 3 days, and we only have 3 more episodes of the Skeleton Crew show. So how it's going to end is going to be very important for the next Mandoverse, I guess, project in this sort of time period after the original trilogy, before the sequel trilogy, and that is the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Now, that movie doesn't come out for another year and a half, so it's going to be a long time till we see the Mandalorian and Grogu movie on the big screen. However, how this Skeleton Crew show ends might be extremely important to that movie. And I don't think anybody is seeing this coming. I know. People are like, I want Skeleton Crew to be its own thing. I don't want it to tie into anything else. It's such a great story on its own. Don't bring in Luke Skywalker. Don't bring in Grand Admiral Thrawn. Don't bring in Mando and Grogu. Don't do any of that. But hear me out today. Just hear me out. Because with the connection of course, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, and the possibility of seeing the characters of Neil, Wim, Byrne, KB, Jod, SM33 in other Star Wars projects, we might be going into the final 3-episode arc of this Skeleton Crew show that will blow our freaking minds. Maybe in a good way. Maybe in a not so good way. But we got to talk about it. Jod Nawood. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Who is this guy? We're going to talk about it today. We talked about it a little bit on Thursday, but we're going to talk about it even more today because it's very, very important moving forward in the Star Wars timeline in this area called the Mandoverse, because Jod might play a way bigger role than we ever once imagined. So with that, let's say hi to everybody in the chat. And if you haven't yet already, smash a freaking like on this stream. I mean, come on. It's not too much to ask. Let's say hi to everybody, shall we? Lee, what is up? Nathan, how we doing? Brandon Baker in the house. John, what is up? King Shadow, how we doing? Sean in the house. Annie K, what is up? Darth Racoonar, how we doing? John Groom, what is up? 50 Thunder, how we doing? Aiden, what is up? Aaron, how we doing? Skywalker Academy, what is up? Another Mike who loves Star Wars, how we doing? Christopher, what is up? Thrawn Kills, we're going to be talking about you today, Thrawn. What is up? WUV Grad in the house. All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little,
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay. So, let's start by talking about episode 5 of the Skeleton Crew, last week's episode. So, we've had a good amount of time to sort of digest the episode. I've watched it 4 times now. Tell me in the chat, how many times have you watched episode 5 of Skeleton Crew? I believe 4. I watched it live, of course, with you guys. I watched it again for the breakdown video. I watched it again yesterday and the day before. So yeah, that's 4. So 4 times I've watched the Skeleton Crew episode. And honestly, it gets better every time. So with that being said, rank episode 5 out of 10 in the chat. In my breakdown video, I put it at a 9.5 out of 10. I think it's still going to remain there. I don't think I'll push up that ranking at all. But I think it could deserve a better ranking than that. So tell me what you think in the chat. What do you rank episode 5 out of 10? Tell me, please. And thank you. 10 out of 10, 8.75. Interesting. 9, 9.5. 7.75. Nice. 8. 8.5. I watched it like 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Holy crap. 8.5. 9. 9.5. 9.5. 10. I keep looking for more Easter eggs. There really wasn't many in that episode, if I'm being completely honest. Yes, you had the huts, you had the banking clan, all that stuff, and that's cool. Not really an Easter egg. It's right in front of our faces. The lady literally says the banking clan is there. We see the Mun, and maybe I'm mispronouncing it, but who cares? But we see the Mun, and we see the huts, and we see our boy Cathalops, the goat, and we see a lot of cool things. But there's not really a lot of Easter eggs because they want you to focus on what's really going on, and that is the turn of Jod Nawood because it's so damn cool and important, of course. But his turn is pretty dang cool, and now he has a lightsaber. That's going to be a very key, important detail moving into these last 3 episodes. Jod has a lightsaber. Yes, he's a Force user. That's great. We don't know if he's a Jedi or not. We'll learn that in episode 7. Hopefully Order 66 flashbacks if he was a Jedi who survived Order 66. But we'll learn all that in episode 7. But the fact that he has a lightsaber now is far more important than anybody's really talking about. There is very, very, very little people in the Star Wars galaxy at the time of the Skeleton Crew show that have 1, the Force, and 2, a lightsaber. You could probably count them on one hand that we know of, at least. Luke, Ezra. That's it. You could say Ahsoka and Sabine, but they aren't even in this galaxy right now. You could speculate about characters, like maybe Cal Kestis survived that long. Maybe Asajj Ventress survived that long. Maybe, I don't know who else. But that's it. Luke and Ezra. Can anybody think of anybody else in the galaxy right now? Cal. Again, Cal Kestis, we don't know if he survives that long. We have no idea how Cal's 3rd game will play out or if he ever comes into live action. Ben Solo. Ben Solo, true. He does, well, we don't know if he owns a lightsaber yet. Quinlan Vos, again, that's a maybe he survived. Maybe he survived. Count on one hand, and you mentioned Luke. I see what you did there. I didn't mean to do that, but that is pretty funny. Mara Jade, she's still real to me. Well, Mara Jade, again, could be. We're talking actual legit people that exist right now. And the only 2 that I can think of are Luke and Cal. So the fact that Jod is the 3rd on that list for Force users that are wielding a lightsaber in the galaxy right now when there's not really supposed to be any of those, it's going to draw some attention. Not only from, of course, the pirates that have been chasing down these kids the whole season, but also the New Republic. And maybe, just maybe, the big blue meanie Grand Admiral Thrawn. So let's talk about this. Episode 6, I think, is going to go in a very strange way. I think we're going to see the kids now split up from Jod, having Spider-Man No Way Home. And get it? Because John Watts. Yeah, okay. They have Spider-Man No Way Home, and they're going to have to figure this out. I think KB will contact Kim the Owl because she said, if you ever need help, call me. She's going to contact Kim. They're going to send in the New Republic, and this is where stuff gets crazy. Pirates versus New Republic versus Jod and SM-33. What happens to the Onyx Cinder? Well, we'll get to that in a second. And how the kids end up back on it with Jod. But this 6th episode will set us up for the end game of this series. Going back to At Attin. Seeing Jod's backstory. All of that will be set up in the 6th episode. Because there's only 2 episodes after that. And not a lot of time to tell a lot of story. Okay, let's talk about the big elephant in the room, and that is Grand Admiral Thrawn and Luke Skywalker. I don't think both of them will show up. I'll leave it with that. I don't think both of them will show up. However, I hesitate to say positive. I have a very strange suspicion, we'll put it that way, that at least one of them will show up in these last 3 episodes. Probably in the last episode, but at some point in these last 3 episodes. Now, let me pitch it to you. Let me pitch you the idea, chat. Okay? Hear me out. Hear me out. Let's talk Big Blue Meanie first. So, Grand Admiral Thrawn, the Big Blue Meanie. Obviously, he was a Legends character brought into canon in Star Wars Rebels. He was voiced by Lars Mikkelsen, brought into live action in the Ahsoka series. He was in a different galaxy because Ezra took them to that different galaxy, and they had a pretty cool arc in the Ahsoka series, to say the least. Thrawn makes his way back home to the Star Wars galaxy that we know and love, and he arrives on Dathomir with crates full of what we think are Night Sisters. Either dead Night Sisters that are going to be brought back to life or just sleeping Night Sisters. So Grand Admiral Thrawn is being set up as the heir to the Empire, named after the Legends trilogy, Heir to the Empire. So, how are you going to go from Thrawn just arriving on Dathomir to Thrawn being the main villain of the entire thing? You're going to need more. A lot more. So here's the theory. Grand Admiral Thrawn, when trying to make this empire, heir to the Empire, he needs funding. He needs an army. Yes, the Night Sisters will help, but he needs stormtroopers. He needs Star Destroyers. He needs an army. And that costs money. I think you know where I'm going. Last episode, it was revealed that the treasure on At Attin is the final Old Republic mint. The ability, the eternal treasure, the ability to print money. That would be the most important thing to Grand Admiral Thrawn currently right now. Being able to print money, being able to buy stuff, create an army with said money is insanely important. So what if this 8th episode that comes back to At Attin, we get the sort of final battle between Jod and the kids and the pirates and maybe even the New Republic, but it all gets interrupted by a big blue meanie by the name of Grand Admiral Thrawn. The heir to the Empire arrives. Night Sisters arrive. Whatever he has for an army with the Chimera or whatever he has for an army shows up on At Attin, wins the war, and that's when the New Republic find out about him. That's when they realize for real, because Ezra already warned them, but they realize for real that Thrawn is back and he is a problem. They will realize that he now owns the last Old Republic mint and the ability to print money and create an army. That's when he becomes a threat. Fast forward a year and a half later, we get to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, where then again we have to be reintroduced to Grand Admiral Thrawn for the people who don't watch the Disney Plus series. And that's where we learn that Grand Admiral Thrawn is probably going to kill someone of extreme importance. Either extreme importance to us, like a Din Djarin, or extreme importance to Din Djarin, like a Greef Karga. Sadly, Carl Weathers has passed away. So killing him, using him for fans to sort of be like, oh my God, Grand Admiral Thrawn's a badass because he just murdered a fan favorite character of Greef Karga, that would be a pretty great way to use the character and hopefully respect Carl Weathers at the same time. But Grand Admiral Thrawn needs to be set up as the next main villain. He needs to be. And right now, just off of Ahsoka alone, fans don't get it. They don't understand how badass he is. They don't understand how he can be a threat to Luke Skywalker, to people with the Force and with lightsabers, to the New Republic at all. Because right now, he's just a big blue meanie. He doesn't have an army. He has some Night Sisters. He's nobody. He's nothing. You are nothing. But at some point, he has to become someone. And to the audience, he has to become a threat. And what better way than at the end of this Skeleton Crew show that seems to be the seemingly happy, fun adventure, boom! Grand Admiral Thrawn shows up. I'm sorry, Costco guys. That's probably trademarked. Thrawn shows up and drops the hammer on At Attin, taking the Old Republic mint, or taking the planet, and killing everybody. Not everybody, but you know what I mean. And here comes the best part of all this. Here comes my favorite part of this theory. And that is Jod Na Nawun. That is the man who has a lightsaber and the Force. There is a Legends character by the name of Joruus C'baoth. Ever heard of him? Give me a 1 into the chat if you know who I'm talking about when I say Joruus C'baoth. So Joruus is a cloned, force-sensitive, or he's a force-sensitive clone of Jorah Sabaoth, who was once a Jedi at the Jedi Order. To make a long story short, he was the guard at Mount Tantus when Thrawn arrives on Mount Tantus, and Jorah joins Thrawn in the Heir to the Empire and becomes his Force user. Thrawn doesn't wield the Force. He doesn't have a lightsaber either. So he's sort of at a disadvantage when he's going up against characters like Luke Skywalker. If Luke and Thrawn had a one-on-one, it would be Luke 10 times out of 10. Actually, probably 11 times out of 10. He has the Force. He has a lightsaber. There's nothing much that Thrawn could do. However, now that Jod has been entered into the equation, and he seems to be, at least after last episode, a bad guy, or a survivor, as he put it, if Thrawn shows up on At Attin and pitches the idea to Jod to join him as his Force-using, lightsaber-wielding, badass guy, Jod's a survivor. He's going to say yes. He's going to see that as an opportunity and say yes. So now, we could be talking about Jod Nawud being our canon version of Jorah Sabaoth. Let's talk about this. Jod has gone by many different names. To name a few right here on this list, you got Captain Silva, you got Jod Nawud, you got Crimson Jacket, you got Dash Zenton, you got Jodwick Zank, you got Professor Gorlox. Sorry. He's gone by a lot of names. If I'm being completely honest with you, I don't think any of them are his real name. The Jod Nawud name is likely to be a fake one. The one that he made up for these kids, possibly stole from Nina Nawud, which we'll get to in a little bit, but it's likely not to be his real name. What if his real name is Jorah Sabaoth? I understand. This is a crazy theory. And maybe you're going, Mike, you're a freaking idiot. There's no way this is going to happen. Thrawn in the Skeleton Crew show? Have you lost your goddamn minds? And maybe I have. Maybe I have. You know, I sit in this chair 24 hours a day. I only turn on the camera when it's time for a live stream. I don't move. All I do is eat, sleep, drink Star Wars. So yeah, my mind might be going crazy. But you can't deny that it wouldn't be sick. You can't deny that Grand Admiral Thrawn coming in, taking At Attin, taking the Old Republic Mint to fund his army as the heir to the Empire wouldn't be incredible. And taking Jod Nawud as the canon version of Jorah Sabaoth? Are you kidding me? It would be incredible. It would be incredible. And not only that, it would be an amazing end to Skeleton Crew. Maybe a dark end, but a crazy end to Skeleton Crew. It would set up Skeleton Crew for a season 2. Because what happens with Neil, Fern, KB, and Wim? Where do they go after this? It would set up a Skeleton Crew season 2, but it would also set up the Mandalorian and Grogu movie perfectly. Set up a Mando trilogy perfectly, as Thrawn as the heir to the Empire. Now, of course, tell me what you think in the chat. Tell me what you think in the chat. Turkey neck has made him go mad. Okay. Chat, I think it'll come to a big surprise when you realize that I was right. This would be my favorite one ever. What's up, Ralph? This would be my favorite theory ever to be right. My favorite one. Probably after seeing all, like, my theory for the Bad Batch Season 3 was to have all the Bad Batch line up and Vader chop their heads off. A little dark, but other than that, this is probably my favorite theory I've ever made. Stu John Jedi says, I hope you're wrong. It would cheapen the show. How would it cheapen the show? I feel like, I respect it, but how would it cheapen the show? I feel like everybody's gone to this place where Skeleton Crew seems to be so secluded from the rest of the galaxy. It should be its own standalone show. No! Look at the facts here, ladies and gentlemen. This show takes place in the Mandalorian and Grogu time period for a reason. The executive producers on the show are Jon Favreau and Dave frickin' Filoni, the guy who ties everything he works on together, from Star Wars Rebels to Tales of the Jedi to Tales of the Empire to the Clone Wars to the Mandalorian to Ahsoka to the Book of Boba Fett to everything. Everything is tied together, especially in this Mandoverse time period. When Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie was announced, it was confirmed that all of these Star Wars Disney Plus shows would come together. Maybe not all of them, but all of them in the Mandoverse would come together in a combination film called Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie. Not just The Mandalorian, not just Ahsoka, not just the Book of Boba Fett, but Skeleton Crew 2. Inferring that either the characters of Skeleton Crew will be in the movie or the story told in Skeleton Crew will be important to that story. So why on earth would I ever believe that this Skeleton Crew show has nothing to do with The Mandalorian? With the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? With all the other events that are happening in the galaxy right now? Grand Admiral Thrawn becoming the heir to the Empire. Why? This is Star Wars, ladies and gentlemen. This is all connected. Everything. Everything from 25,000 years ago to 25,000 years in the future. It's all going to be connected. Especially when you got Dave Filoni's name right on the front. He's an executive producer on the show. He's got whiteboards on whiteboards connecting all these different Star Wars projects together in his office. What do we think? I understand it sounds crazy. But if before The Mandalorian Season 2 came out, I told you Luke Skywalker would show up and save the day, wouldn't you call me crazy? If I told you when we first met Grogu in The Mandalorian that he would go off to train with Luke frickin' Skywalker, wouldn't you call me crazy? I don't think we're thinking right, chat. I don't think we have our heads screwed on right. And I don't mean me. I mean you. Yeah, I said it. I said it! It's all kind of crazy. It is all kind of crazy. We're talking Star Wars here, ladies and gentlemen. Annie K says, history is like that. It connects, it rhymes, and the connections are obvious after you've seen them. Exactly. They're obvious after you have seen them. For example, episode 4 of the Skeleton Crew had Fern go up to SM-33 and say, run memory override. The exact same thing she said in episode 1. We missed it. Nobody was going, oh, that thing that Fern said in episode 1 about memory overriding the droid, that will happen to SM-33. No! Not a single person was predicting that. Nope. Star Wars Order says, so if we are idiots, we are watching the King of Idiots. Why else would we be here? Exactly. We're just a bunch of idiots talking about Star Wars.
Incorrect.
Yeah. But, of course, as I always do, I'm going to put up a poll in the chat. So if you have not already, smash a frickin' like on this stream. Well, let's do this. Do you think Grand Admiral Thrawn will appear in Skeleton Crew? Don't you worry. If you say no, I won't be offended. And I actually have a counter theory. So, yes or no? Do you think Grand Admiral Thrawn will appear in Skeleton Crew? Another Mike who loves Star Wars says, so many mysteries about who is receiving the Old Republic credits, and they keep and that they keep making them on At Attin, or are they just storing 1,000 or more years of credits for the great works? That is interesting. If they're producing all these different credits on At Attin for who knows how long for the great works, who is receiving those credits? That's a good question. Maybe they all are just all stored up, or maybe it's not even functioning. Maybe they're not printing credits because nobody needs them, and just the ability to print the credits are there. Yeah. Tim says, no, I wanted Jod to be a stealth Sabaoth. Retcon, though? What? A stealth Sabaoth? What does that mean? I think Thrawn and Mando will appear in this show. But we know that the New Republic will be in the show. We know that for a fact. Obviously, they already have been in the show with the 2 X-Wings, but they will appear again. At least 2 more X-Wings showing up on Lanupa in the next episode. We know that for a fact. Well, we don't know for a fact that it's in the next episode, but we know for a fact that 2 X-Wings will appear on Lanupa. So the New Republic will still have ties to this show. Din and Grogu showing up, helping out the New Republic, it's probably less likely, but it's definitely not impossible. Definitely not impossible. Yeah. What if Omega shows up? Honestly, I was hoping at the beginning of the show that Omega would show up. I've kind of lost faith on that. I feel less and less likely that Omega will show up in this series, but hey, you never know. Tim says, I wanted them to retcon Sabaoth from the Timothy Zahn trilogy as Jude Law's character, but they went a different route. Well, yes and no. Jod could still be, by name, Joruus Sabaoth. Jod Nah-Nah-Wood might not be his real name. If he is a Jedi who survived Order 66, just like Joruus was, he would have a different story after that because Joruus gets cloned and becomes sort of the protector of Mount Tantus. And that's, of course, not Jod's role right now. But he could still have the same name and still the same end goal, which is to become the Force user for Grand Admiral Thrawn in his Heir to the Empire. So it would be a retconned, or not retconned, but it would be a canonized version of the Legends character. It would be slightly different, just like they do with all these other Legends characters, but it would still do the same purpose. He would still play the same role. You still have to think that Mount Tantus has some sort of role in this Heir to the Empire stuff because they left it intact in the Bad Batch Season 3. Yes, they blew up all the cloning operation stuff. Nala Se sacrifices her life to blow it all up, but the facility itself did not blow up. So it still technically exists, and Dave Filoni has said that he did that for a reason. There's a reason that the whole Mount Tantus was set up in the Bad Batch Season 3. They wouldn't just make the Bad Batch a 3-season show, pretty much all about Mount Tantus, all about Omega being this character that you can use her blood to transfer midichlorians. They wouldn't do all that for no reason. So at some point, somehow, that'll play a big role into what's to come. Yeah. Andrew says, can we talk about the Sith carvings on the on Skull Ridge Mountain? Yes, we can talk about that for a sec. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on there. Why is there Sith writing on the walls? Anybody? Chat? Somebody brought up last stream that it could be that this used to be an old Sith temple. I kind of like that theory. Like it's possible that this was a temple before Tak Renid just comes in as a pirate, finds the Sith temple and turns it into his own lair. That's definitely a possibility. What else? Graffiti? You think they're doing ancient Sith writing graffiti? I don't think so. And the weirdest part about it is nobody's been able to translate it yet. That's what's really weird to me. Captain Tak had to have known. Yeah, he must have. I mean, it's his lair. Obviously, he knew what the writing was outside of it. But it's very strange that we can't translate it because in Ahsoka, when there was the ancient Sith writing, we could translate it, but not here. John Watts said that they left the show open so they could move a little bit around the timeline to fit another season if they got the chance to. Yeah, I think a season 2, it depends on, of course, the fan reception, which seems to be very, very good so far. And of course, the numbers. The numbers are pretty low for the Skeleton Crew series. And a lot of that maybe has to do with coming off the backs of Ahsoka. Maybe it has to do with the fact that this is a show about kids, so people just think that it's a kid's show. I really don't know. But yes, the numbers are down on this series. So that might play into effect on getting a second season, but I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. What do you mean you can't translate it? Like it's gibberish or it's weird shapes that we don't know? I've had multiple people try to translate it, and yes, they can pick out maybe 1 or 2 letters in the whole line of the phrase, but that's it. Like some of these don't exist, sort of. Like those symbols, they're not the same. If that makes sense. Yeah. Somebody else brought up the fact, and this was really cool, that what if Jod turns on the kids and is way more dark than he usually is on Lanupa because they are inside of a Sith temple? Because the Force works in a lot of different ways, but one of them being when you're around like a Sith temple or a Jedi temple, you get that push towards the dark side. So what if Jod, who's sort of an in-between kind of guy, gets pushed towards the dark side because they are in a Sith temple? That would be pretty cool. I like that. JC, what's up? Darth Thor says, people keep asking about the lightsaber. I want to know why there's a gold Neil species statue in the room. Well, the lightsaber is extremely important. I mean, it's Jod with a lightsaber moving forward for the last 3 episodes. It's going to be pretty crazy. I want to know what he's going to do. Is he going to go try and reclaim his crew with the pirates? Is he going to try to go kill all the people on At Attin to just get his treasure? Like, what's his end goal there? But also, the lightsaber is important because a lightsaber, word's going to get around. If somebody's wielding a lightsaber, word's going to get to Luke Skywalker. Word's going to get to the New Republic, Coruscant, Mon Mothma, hopefully Leia Organa. And something's going to come of that. So yes, it's very important. But the statue's cool too. The statue is cool because I've looked back at it because so many of you have said it looks like Neil. It looks like Neil. I didn't think it looked like Neil, or his species, I should say, until let me show you. So where is this? Ah, there we go. Until I kind of zoomed in on it. Now this, I can't really zoom in on this, but it does look like sort of an elephant, like Neil is, of course. But to me, it sort of looked more like Max Rebo at first. Then when you look at it, like the trunk is very Neil-esque. It's the weird thing on the back of his head that's throwing me off. Is that just really long hair or is that something on his head? I don't know. But it does look like Neil's species. And what's strange about that is we have never seen Neil's species in Star Wars before. Ever. It's a completely new species. We thought it was going to be the same species as Max Rebo. But John Watts and Christopher Ford have confirmed that it's not. So why introduce a new species? Have statues of that species on the planets like At Attin and At Akron, and then have that same species as a golden statue in Tak Renid's lair. It is pretty interesting. Not as interesting as the lightsaber, but pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So what do we think, chat? Why is it here? It's wearing a crown. I don't know if it's a crown, but should we zoom in on it? Hang on, let me take a screenshot of it. Let me take a screenshot so we can zoom in. Imagine like Neil just ends up being the most important character for some reason. We're just like, oh my god, it was Neil all along. Then it cuts to Agatha all along. It's just like do 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 do. Okay, I'll zoom in on this thing. Yeah, I mean that's Neil. That's Neil's species. I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about it. But what's on his head? And the weird thing is too, like, they focused on this. This was a particular scene that they focused on for some reason. I don't know why, but they did. The only things they really focused on in this entire room full of treasure was this statue and the lightsaber. That was it. So clearly there's some significance to it. He's pretty ripped. Oh yeah, look at those muscles right there. Shredded Neil. It might be hair. I don't know. It's either hair or some sort of crown looking thing. Does he have tusks? Is this a tusk coming out right here? And maybe one over there too? I don't know. And why is he holding these bead looking things? I don't know. I thought this was Santa's sleigh. Either way, it's pretty interesting. They only focused on two things in the entire treasure room, and it was this statue and the lightsaber. Yeah. I would say it's there because it's Tach-Renid species. Well, we get a look at Tach-Renid, or sort of a pretty good look at Tach-Renid. Somebody sent it to the Discord, actually. If you are not yet in the Discord, check it out. There's a link in the description below to the Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. But somebody got this really good image of Tach's face. If I can open it, what the hell? Where'd that go? What the hell, chat? Oh, there we go. So it's not, you like obviously can't make out what his face is, but you can make out that he's not a big blue elephant. That helps. So there's actually a better frame than this. I thought this was it, but it's not. Where you can kind of see that he has like spikes on the side of his face, almost like the Weequay species, which is Hondo Unaka species, which is also the skull that stands behind his throne, which would make sense. Yeah. That would make sense. Okay, so let me point out the obvious. 73% of you say no. You don't think Grand Admiral Thrawn will be in this show. I understand. I knew that would be the reaction to my crazy theory about Grand Admiral Thrawn showing up at the end of this show, taking the Old Republic Mint as his own to fund his own army to become the heir to the Empire. I understand that. I get it. No, don't you worry. I understand. But there is another, as the great Yoda once said. There is another counter theory to this theory. Not that Grand Admiral Thrawn will show up, but somebody of probably more significance. And that is Luke Skywalker. I eased you guys in with that first theory. I know, I eased you in with the first theory. Whew. Now let me talk about Luke Skywalker, shall we? So Luke Skywalker, of course, if you don't know who that is, he's right here. Luke Skywalker is the man, the myth, the legend. The most important guy in the galaxy by a mile. At this point in the Star Wars timeline, he is the guy. And I know last stream, a lot of you were saying, no, I don't want this to connect to Luke. I don't want everything to keep connecting to Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple show. Or his Jedi Temple. And I kind of put that down because we've only been to Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple once. And we've only seen Luke twice. So the amount of Luke Skywalker is really not that much. But here's the theory, and here's why it makes sense. Like I mentioned before, if you have a Force user with a lightsaber roaming around the galaxy causing havoc, then it's likely that Luke will get notice of this in the New Republic. And with that, he will go to investigate in the one X-Wing, as Cara Dune put it. Just one X-Wing, we're saved. Now, with that being said, there was a lot of fans at the beginning of the Skeleton Crew show that thought it would be possible for one of these four kids, Wim, Fern, KB, Neil, to be Force sensitive. Over the course of the show, some people thought it would be KB because of her heightened abilities, but maybe that's just her cybernetics. Most people wanted it to be Neil because they love Neil. Wim seems to be the most likely one. His affinity to the Jedi and the Sith in the stories of the old Jedi. It's possible that one of them could be Force sensitive. It is definitely possible. And that would again tie to Luke Skywalker. Maybe one of these characters goes off to go train with Luke at his Jedi temple. That would be insane. Well, let's talk about Luke coming in and saving the day again. Let's keep with the same exact theory that we had before. This all ends on At Attin. That's where it's going to end. We know that for a fact. We've still seen scenes on At Attin with the kids speeder biking with Wim's dad, with Wim, Fern, and their parents in the supervisor's tower. Like there are confirmed scenes that we haven't seen yet that are on At Attin. So we're going back home. And it looks like this is going to be some sort of war or battle for At Attin on the planet. Maybe it's between the pirates and the people of At Attin. Maybe it's between the New Republic and the pirates. Maybe it's between Grand Admiral Thrawn and the pirates in the New Republic. Who knows? But the New Republic will be involved. We see them as the two X-Wings fly by on Lanupa. But these people on At Attin don't really have a defense system, as far as we're aware. Somebody mentioned in a previous live stream that there is a giant turret on top of the kids' school that we saw on At Akron. So it's likely that there's one on At Attin as well. And there is some sort of built-in defense system on the planet for fighting against people who try to come take the planet. Possibly. But I actually think the New Republic will be the ones who come in and save the day to help against the pirates. And who else would come to help but Luke Skywalker, especially when there's a Force sensitive wielding a lightsaber. Now, the reason that Luke shows up in The Mandalorian Season 2 is because Grogu sits on the Seeing Stone and calls out to him. Keep that in mind. Luke is going around the galaxy at this point in the timeline, searching for ancient artifacts, Sith, Jedi, whatever. Is it possible that one of those artifacts eventually becomes the lightsaber that Jod is currently wielding? Or what if one of those ancient artifacts is the planet of At Attin itself, the hidden planet? And Luke gets word that the New Republic has found it and wants to come help. So let's talk about this. I know you're like, no, Luke's not going to show up. This Skeleton Crew show should remain in Dave Filoni. Okay, I mentioned it again because it's so important. This show is not just a John Watts solo project in the Star Wars universe. It's executive produced by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni because they're trying to create a universe here. Something that is interconnected between all the projects. Like Carson Teva being in Ahsoka and The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett. Like Din Djarin being in The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and, of course, Ahsoka being connected to Din Djarin, having multiple meetings with him. So all that stuff is interconnected. Right now, the Skeleton Crew is not interconnected with those stories. However, there's still 3 episodes left. So it's highly likely, that at some point over the next 3 episodes, that something drastic is going to happen, whether it's the finale and Thrawn comes in to destroy At Attin or take the Old Republic Mint, or Luke Skywalker comes in to save the day again, or Din Djarin and Grogu are sent by the New Republic to come save the kids. Whatever it may be, something will happen over the next 3 episodes that will tie this story, this Skeleton Crew adventure with At Attin, the Old Republic Mint, how significant that is to the rest of the galaxy. It will tie in to the rest of the Mando verse. Now, if you have a crazy theory that can tie in the Skeleton Crew show to the other shows without having Luke Skywalker come and save the day, without having Grand Admiral Thrawn come take the Old Republic Mint to fund his army, tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat. Let's see it, chat. In case I forgot, Star Wars ended in 1983. That's really sad. That's pretty sad. if you actually think that. Do you really not like Revenge of the Sith or Clone Wars or Rogue One or Mandalorian, Star Wars Rebels? Crazy. Bounty hunters and pirates and X-Wings are coming. I don't know if bounty hunters don't seem to be playing a role in the rest of the series. I'm going to be completely honest. There's not. I thought that we might see a character like a Dengar or a Bosk. It was just Pocket. It was just a Pocket. But I'm not that mad. I want more Brutus more than anything. But more pirates are definitely confirmed, and we already know that to be the case. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah, Pocket's a bounty hunter, a new bounty hunter. But, you know. Jod Na Nawud was a Jedi turned pirate who will go on to become a Sith Lord. Wait, what? And will become the villain of the next Rey movie. Now that's a theory. I think that Jod could go down a dark path. I don't think he'll become the next villain of the Rey movie, but he could end up becoming Jorah Sabaoth, or at least the canon version of one. Yeah. Anthony says, I would enjoy if Cal Kestis appeared and it tied into his planet from Jedi Survivor, Tanalorr. That would be pretty cool. That would be cool, but it seems as though the 9 planets that were hidden away were not like Tanalorr. Tanalorr is cool, but it had a Jedi temple on it. This is not the same story. However, Cal Kestis would be pretty dang cool to see. I'd be all for Cal Kestis coming to live action, don't get me wrong. And he could be helping the kids too. He's a kid saver. Yeah. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate it. I'm still waiting for those experimental movies that George Lucas promised us after he gave up on Star Wars. He gave up on Star Wars. That's crazy. I think secretly he is trying to find or save someone. Who, Jod? You think Jod is secretly trying to save somebody right now? What's up, Qui-Gon's ghost? You know how in episode 7, you know how in episode 7 we will learn about Jod's backstory / flashbacks? What if it's a split episode between SM33's flashbacks as well? And Tak Rened we get in the flashbacks. I don't think so. I feel like we got all the information we needed about Tak Rened in this 5th episode. We learned how significant he is to Jod. As soon as he mentions the name Rened, he goes, holy crap, Tak Rened? And he's like, yeah, of course. He's like, the most legendary pirate in the galaxy. That was enough. We didn't see his face, but we did see a hologram of him. We got enough Tak Rened for sure. Like, we don't need to know his backstory at all. But Jod's backstory is significant. They are waiting to tell us whether or not Jod is a Jedi or not for a reason. Whatever the reveal of his past is going to be, it's going to be extremely important. It's going to be something that blows our minds. That's why I think it could be something as crazy as his name being Jorah Sabaoth. Yeah. Yeah. Whether or not Jod survived Order 66 and was a Jedi will be far more important now than it was 2 weeks ago. Because now it actually has a tie to possibly Grand Admiral Thrawn or possibly other stories that don't just revolve around Skeleton Crew. Like, this show is great, but it's great because of where it exists in the Star Wars timeline. It couldn't exist anywhere else. And now it's going to tie into all those other stories in these last 3 episodes. Maybe not in a drastic way, like everybody shows up. We're not going to see Din, Grogu, Luke, Thrawn, and all of them together. We'll probably see one of them. Maybe even not see one of them, but get mention of one of them. Or something along those lines. UV Clips, what's up? Yeah. Jod is Qui-Gon's son? I don't think so. He did quote Qui-Gon Jinn in the last episode, but to say Qui-Gon Jinn had a son, that would add quite a bit of story to his character. Yeah. I know I'm just dreaming, but that darn face hiding makes you wonder. Yeah, true. The fact that they're hiding Tack Rennett's face, it's a little weird. Like, why not just show his face? Maybe it's significant, but I don't know. I don't know. What if one of those ancient artifacts is the big gold Neil? There you go. If there is a huge battle on At Attin, I think Thrawn will definitely show up and sweep the New Republic and the pirates. Maybe we could get a small Luke post-credit scene of him investigating what happened, but he's too late. That'd be incredible. That'd be incredible. If there's this big battle going on between the New Republic and the pirates, and the New Republic are like kind of struggling with the pirates, and then just this massive Star Destroyer, the Chimera, comes out of hyperspace, and Thrawn arrives and then just absolutely obliterates both the pirates and the New Republic. And Jod, being the survivor, is going to go, I'm going to join that guy. And then he joins him, of course, as the canon version of Jorah Sabaoth. But Thrawn comes in and steals the show and takes the Old Republic mint for his own to fund his own army. In the post-credits scene of Skeleton Crew would be Luke arriving on At Attin and seeing the destruction that was left behind by Grand Admiral Thrawn and realizing that he's a threat. That would be incredible. Here's the thing. The Mandalorian Grogu movie will set up Thrawn as a threat as well. For the people who don't know who Thrawn is, for the people who don't know who Din and Grogu are, that movie, for the more normie fans, will tell a lot of information. However, if we are really doing a Mandoverse trilogy, if we are really going to do the Heir to the Empire in canon, then Luke has to play a role in that. Luke has to play a role, maybe even Leia and Han too, in taking down Thrawn. I still have zero doubt in my mind that John Favreau and Dave Filoni will do the one thing that the sequels failed to do. And that was bring together Luke, Leia, and Han on the same screen. The sequel trilogy didn't do it once. One of the biggest mistakes of the entire trilogy is not having the three of them on the screen at the same time. So I have zero doubt in my mind that John and Dave will do that. So that means they have to be important to this story. There's no way that a new heir to the Empire is going to come around and Luke is not going to have a role in that. Taking him down? He and his sister and his friend saved the galaxy last time. You don't think he's going to want a piece of the next guy who tries to come take the galaxy again? So for all of you who are like, no more Luke, you're going to be getting a shit ton of Luke over the next 10 years. And that's just the reality. Carrie Fisher is dead. That's true. And Mark Hamill's not 25 anymore. Neither is Harrison Ford. All these characters are going to be deepfaked or recast. And the argument can be had forever about whether or not you want them to be deepfaked or recast. Yeah. Mary says, maybe everybody will show up after all. One of the names for the planet that they arrived on was called Battle World. That's true. I think that was more so a nod to the MCU's or Marvel's comics Battle World. But maybe. Grillfit Warrior says, although this show is a success, I don't think that they're going to tie into any of the main characters at all. I could not agree with that. The fact that John and Dave are executive producers on the show alone make me pretty much 99% sure that it will tie into all the other Mandoverse stuff. You have to remember the idea for this show and how it came to be. Jon Favreau was pitched the idea from John Watts on the set of Spider-Man. And it was such a good idea that he brought it to Dave Filoni, who also thought it was such a good idea, and they made the show. So clearly, this idea, whatever it is, this final 3-episode arc, whatever the full idea of Skeleton Crew is, will play a role in this Mandoverse. Or else if it didn't, they put it somewhere else in the timeline. Let's pull this up because it's interesting. Wow, 75% of you say no, you don't think Thrawn will be showing up in this show. Actually, well, we'll put up a different poll here. Do you think Skeleton Crew will connect to the rest of the Mando, I'll put it in quotations, Mando verse? Yes or no? Do you think Skeleton Crew will connect to the rest of the Mando verse? Yes, you do, or no, you don't. The math, no, it did not. Did it really? Holy crap! With 100 votes, because it was exactly 100, the math is mathing. Do you think Grand Admiral Thrawn will appear in the Skeleton Crew? 75% of you say no, 25% of you say yes, and I am with those 25% of you who said yes. I think he will show up, but that's pretty wild. The math is not mathed in forever. I don't even know how long, actually. Cosmic the Cow, what's up? It has to connect, doesn't it? I think so. I think it clearly has to connect to everything else. It's Star Wars. Everything connects. You look at a show like The Bad Batch, which is a show about a random crew, Clone Force 99, of clones who have to survive after the Empire takes over. That seems like it's just a nothing burger. You get introduced to Omega, who's this little girl clone. She's a female clone. And you're like, okay, cool, female clone. What's up with that? I don't know. Then you get introduced to Dr. Hemlock, new character. All the characters are pretty much new. Sid, new character. Fee, new character. They're all new characters, so you're like, this doesn't tie into anything. This is whatever. And by the end of season 3, you go, holy shit, Mount Tantus, Palpatine's cloning operations, Project Necromancer. It's all tied together. It will never not be tied together, especially a project inside the Skywalker saga. It will always be tied together. Where else could Skeleton Crew fit in the timeline? Anywhere. It's a show about pirates. Pirates always exist in Star Wars. Anywhere in the Star Wars timeline, it would fit. Anywhere. Anywhere. Robert says, it's already connected. We saw a pirate who appeared in The Mandalorian. True. Yeah, no, that is true. We have seen a character that was in The Mandalorian Season 3. It's weird to me that Vane is in this show, though, because he wasn't that important. Maybe he'll come back around in episodes 6, 7, and 8, but he wasn't that important beforehand. Yeah, Vane. Like, he only really is in that one episode. So right now, there's really no reason for him to be in the show. I'm up for Omega in this. Omega would be great. Seems less likely now, but it would be great. UV Clip says, will we see Kix from the Clone Wars in the Mandoverse timeline? There's a comic book where he wakes up from his stasis during this timeline, just for context. Yeah, that is a legend story for now. Could become canon. But I don't know. I don't see it happening in Skeleton Crew if that's the case. Yeah. Okay, interesting. So I'm looking at this poll. Do you think that Skeleton Crew will connect to the rest of the Mandoverse? And almost 90% of you say yes. And yet, you poo-pooed my ideas of Luke showing up at the end and saving the day, or Grand Admiral Thrawn showing up because he have to set up his heir to the Empire and fund his army with the New Republic Mint. So then how is it going to connect to the rest of the galaxy? How is it going to connect to what's coming after it with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, if not with Thrawn or the New Republic or Luke? Perhaps it will connect, but only loosely. Interesting. We have to remember, what is the purpose of this show? What is it? The concept of the show right now is just this random planet that was hidden away. 9 planets were hidden away. This is the only one that remains. Has an old Republic mint on it that is this eternal treasure that everybody in the galaxy is searching for, or was once searching for. It's a myth. And these kids just go on this crazy adventure off of it. But that doesn't really make sense. It needs to be for something. Right now it is something. It needs to be for something. No Luke, but maybe Thrawn. Okay, interesting. We're coming around to Thrawn. Wait, what if Vane is here because he's working for Thrawn? What if Vane will take over the pirate crew after Brutus dies, and he will work with Thrawn? I mean, it's a possibility, but I don't see Thrawn working with pirates. You know? Did anyone see the concept trailer? What? Concept trailer? Qui-Gon's Ghost says Thrawn is not going to show up after getting back after getting back to this galaxy and then being like, oh hey, I need to go find the loot. No, he needs to fulfill his deal with the Night Mothers first. Okay, but time has passed since the Ahsoka series ended. Time has passed. So he's been on Dathomir for who knows how long. His deal to the Night Mothers, or whatever their names were, Great Mothers, was to get them back home. And he did that. What about Han? Where is he in all this? I don't know, actually, because Han and Leia's marriage, of course, fails. But that was explained to be because of Ben Solo's fall to the dark side. So in theory, Han, Leia, and Ben should all be on Coruscant right now. In theory. Can I get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Bumpa. Annie K says, Vane is a sidekick character. I think he's there to establish the timeline. Maybe. I would say yes, but he's not that significant. I feel like even people who have seen The Mandalorian and seen Skeleton Crew, some more normie fans, won't even notice that he's the same character. There's a lot of characters in Star Wars, pirates specifically, that look like that. They're the same species. They look the same. He doesn't have a big enough role to sort of put the connection there for more normie fans, I guess. Yeah. Han is currently running from Parenthood. Okay. Okay. Thrawn needs muscle. He needs people around the galaxy. Pirates are perfect for that. Maybe the Imperial remnant, aren't liking the fact that they got to trust Thrawn to rule. That is true. The Shadow Council, they weren't all convinced that Thrawn was going to be the best heir, let's put it. So they weren't convinced that we were going to, they were all going to latch on to the ideas of Grand Admiral Thrawn. There was obviously Moff Gideon doing his own thing, but there was Hux's dad doing Project Necromancer still, trying to bring back Palpatine. So I don't think all of the remnant of the Empire will be on Thrawn's side. So he needs an army. And maybe pirates will help him out with that. Maybe. Pirates can't really be trusted, though. And they really only want treasure for themselves. I don't know if they would be willing to work for him. I don't know. My best bet, and I think the best ending that we could get for Skeleton Crew, would be Thrawn showing up. Our heroes lose. Like, you think about some of the best Star Wars movies and shows ever, bad guys lose. And it sounds like a horrible thing, like you don't want the bad guy or the good guys to lose. But the bad guys winning ends up being the best stories. Empire Strikes Back, the bad guys win. Revenge of the Sith, the bad guys win. Rogue One, it's kind of a push. I mean, the bad guys lose because they lose the Death Star plans, but all of our heroes die. So the bad guys win. Kind of. Yeah, the bad guys win. Even Ahsoka, technically the bad guys win. Like Ahsoka, the goal is to get Ezra back home. That was a success, but I don't think they intended on getting stranded there while Thrawn also makes it back home. Because Ahsoka was like, we can't let Thrawn come back home. He will become the heir to the Empire, and we can't let that happen. And they let that happen. So Ahsoka is a loss too. So I just listed probably my top 3 Star Wars movies and my favorite show. And all of them are the bad guys winning. It's just such an interesting concept. if Thrawn comes in at the end of this show and decimates the New Republic and the pirates, not the kids, obviously, the kids will survive, and takes the Old Republic mint from At Attin to fund his army, it would be so cool. It would not only be so cool because it sets up the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, but it'd be so cool because Thrawn would be so badass, and we need more badass Thrawn. He's not that badass in Ahsoka. Yes, his strategic mind is shown a little bit, but not nearly as much as it is in Rebels or in Legends by any means. So Thrawn needs to be as badass as possible. Having him show up in the Skeleton Crew series and kick ass would be awesome. And then having him show up in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie and kick ass too would be awesome as well. Yeah. We need it. How much did it cost to make Skeleton Crew? I have no idea. I don't know. It sets up the next movie. Exactly. We got to set up this next movie. Yeah.
This is where the fun begins.
Yeah. John Groom says, Thrawn has a legion of Night Sisters. How much muscle do you need? What he needs is alliances. The banking clan would be a good start. Yes and no. The Night Sisters, obviously having an army of Night Sisters is great. But how far are they really going to get you? How many Night Sisters do you really have? You're talking about possibly being able to get tens of thousands of stormtroopers in an army versus a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 Night Sisters. I don't know. Oh, wow. I just realized that Gorian Shard, the pirate from The Mandalorian Season 3, was working for Moff Gideon. What? Remember the informant girl was reporting that the probe droid... So these pirates could be working with the Imperial remnant? Gorian Shard was working with Moff Gideon? I don't remember that. Somebody fact check him on that. Was Gorian Shard working with the remnant of the Empire? I do not remember that. Yeah. I do not recall. Growfit Warrior says, it's an epic adventure for these kids in the Skeleton Crew. I believe it will tie together eventually, but a long way out. They will only tie in with cameos. Interesting. So what kind of cameos? I think people are misreading Thrawn's motivations. He doesn't give a shit about the Empire. He's just trying to... Oh, sorry. He's just trying to get the biggest gun that he can back home. That's Luke and Leia now. Well, Thrawn's intentions in the Legends, of course, are to protect his people, protect his home. Yes, that's true. And him joining the Empire was to do that, protect his home. But that's what leads me to, and I don't want to get too far off into Ahsoka Season 2 speculation, because we're talking about Skeleton Crew, but that's what leads me to believe that Abeloth, it was on Peridia, and Thrawn knew about it. Let's not forget, in Ahsoka Season 1, Thrawn is running from something. He is trying to leave Peridia because he is running from something. That is clear. And Balin and Shin talk about it when they're in the sort of wilderness too. They know that they're running from something. That something is probably Abeloth, and the reason that Thrawn will take over the galaxy and make an empire is to protect the galaxy from Abeloth. So his intentions are probably very similar to Legends. He's not trying to just take over the galaxy for taking over the galaxy's sake, but he's trying to protect his people still. He's trying to protect the galaxy from the big threat that he met on Peridia. Yeah. Yeah. Mike, we need to invite more of these gray names to become members. If you are not a member, there's a link in the description below to the people to join, become a member. People who love Star Wars. Yeah. Oh wait, is this the last stream of the year? No. Okay, Monday's stream will be the giveaway. If you are a member, you get instant access to the giveaway. At the end of every month, we do a giveaway for all members. It's pretty awesome. Last month we gave away a what did we give away? Oh, Vader helmet. We gave away Darth Vader's helmet. That was pretty badass. The month before that, we gave away a Mandalorian helmet. And this month will be something just as cool. So, yeah. If you are not yet a member, think about joining. Thanks, Lee. I always forget to say that. So, I appreciate it. Can we talk about the supervisor for a bit? Okay, yeah. Let's talk about the supervisor. Let's start with this. Who do you think is the supervisor on At Attin? Whoa. This Good Captain Falls Orders is really full right now. Oh, Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $5 holla. Holy crap. Says, Skeleton Crew is incredible. If Thrawn shows up, could Jod be the new Sabaoth? Jesus, lose my voice. Well, Plagueis, I think you might have missed the first sort of couple 20, 30 minutes of the live stream. That's what we were talking about. I think Jod could be a canon version of Jorah's Sabaoth. If it's a possibility, yes. And yes, Skeleton Crew is incredible. Talk about a way to end 2024. This show's awesome. All right, who do you think the supervisor is? And I appreciate the super chat. I really, really do. Super chats keep the lights on over here, and I will do any Star Wars impression for any amount of money, but I appreciate it. The Mun Baking Clan are the supervisor? No. Yeah. DP, that is crazy. Yeah. That is crazy. The supervisor is an AI. Here's why I don't like that theory. I don't think AI is going to come anywhere close to this Skeleton Crew or to Star Wars at all. Yes, Star Wars is kind of futuristic, but it's not. It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. AI doesn't fit into the equation. Droids, yes. AI, no. Oh, Jessica. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars, Jessica. At the Padawan level, I appreciate it quite a bit. That is very, very generous. I appreciate it. Yeah. So I'm a no on the supervisor being AI. Maybe a droid, but not AI. UV Clip says, my theory about who the supervisor is that it's one of Tack Rennett's crewmates. Let me stop you right there. No. Actually, let me stop you again and say...
Incorrect.
And here's why. Tack Rennett was looking for At Attin, the hidden planet. So it was already hidden. There was already a supervisor there. So it couldn't have been Tack or any of his crew because it was already there. Jesus. Losing my voice. I don't know what it is. But so Tack and his crew cannot be the supervisor unless they come in and take over kind of thing, you know? I think that there isn't a supervisor and the planet was abandoned. Well, then who are they talking to? You know? Who would they be talking to then? Are droids just AI? No. Droids are programmed in a specific way. AI is something that can sort of learn as it goes. And I guess you could say that droids can do that too, but AI can almost like think for itself. A droid is programmed. AI can do whatever you want. Yeah. I Haja. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars. Hi, Haja. Welcome back to the people who love Star Wars at the master level. Holy crap. I appreciate that quite a bit. Master level is the highest level. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars again. Another Mike who loves Star Wars to the $2 holla and doesn't say anything? Mike, what are you doing? Say something! I forgot to write something first. I'd like to talk about comedian SM33. Oh, he's a comedian now? I see. I appreciate it, Mike. I really, really do. All right. Let's talk about this because somebody just brought it up. The Onyx Cinder is going to get towed to a scrapyard. Let's talk about this. So, we've gone through this trailer a million times. However, now that we've seen 5 of the 8 episodes, there's only a few scenes left in this trailer, that we haven't seen yet. And they're all very important. So let's take a look. This one, of course, we talked about on Thursday's live stream. It is insanely important. It confirms not only that the kids get back together with Jod, but they also get to At Attin together. And this lightsaber is right here on his hilt. And the reason that we know it's At Attin is because somebody so geniusly pointed out, I believe it was Navarro, somebody pointed out that right over here on the left of the screen, right there, cut off, half cut off, is one of the droids, the security droids, from At Attin. Confirming that this is At Attin and that Jod and the kids are back together on the planet. That's important. Yes, very important. What? We only have 70 likes on this stream? Are you kidding me? Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already, please. And thank you. Okay, but that's just one frame.
A crew of murderous pirates is coming.
Something's wrong.
They're not going to just turn up. We need to find them.
We're not alone down here.
Somebody mentioned that this hasn't been said yet. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I have not fact-checked it, but Neil hasn't said we're not alone down here yet. Has he? Can somebody fact-check me on that? Has Neil said we are not alone down here? Because clearly it's cut together weirdly because this is on At Akron. And this is, of course, when Fern in the last episode meets Cathalps, my favorite new character. So if he hasn't said we're not alone down here, then what is that referring to? When they fall down the tube, maybe in the next episode, wherever they fall to. Jod's gonna die? Oh my god, I don't think so. I don't think so. Mary says, I have a theory brewing in my mind where the supervisor is Neil's dad. And even his family doesn't know about it. Did you mention this last time, Mary? Because I've definitely heard this one. Not a fan. I like it, but not a fan. So he hasn't said that yet, so I don't know what that's referring to, but it is an important line.
Oh, be warned.
This hasn't been seen yet. So we got 2 X-Wings in the sky on Lanupa. And it looks like this is one of the pirate ships, and it's taking off. And so is the other one. But this is Gunter. And he seems to be looking at these. And actually, the X-Wings are shooting at someone. Chat. What if? Because we know that he's not getting back on the Onyx. Actually, why is he not getting back on the Onyx? So we're going to see the Onyx Cinder being sort of destroyed in a couple frames. But I don't really know what's going on here. Turn my mic up. Is it low? Chat? Is my mic low today? Or is the audio you're saying on this trailer too low? I don't know what you're referring to. Okay, well, let's keep going.
Be warned. Every booby.
This X-Wing is shooting at something.
Every booby.
Right there, you see it?
Every booby.
Oh.
Oh, be warned. Every
I can't get the
booby.
I can't get the frame right, chat.
Warned. Every
there it is. See, it's blasting at something. So it almost seems like somebody's taking off at this point, and they're trying to shoot it down. I don't know. Very strange. However, this does confirm that the New Republic will be coming back and playing a big role with the next couple episodes. But yes, so let's talk about the Onyx Cinder getting towed to the scrapyard.
booby traps. Pirates and mountains where none dare.
So first we got this scene, and then we'll get to the scrapyard scene. So this is the daytime. This is probably down here where the kids get dropped off when they fall down the trap door. And then they're climbing back up to get somewhere. We don't know where, but this is where they seemingly end up. And then this is the scrapyard. So the Onyx Cinder is about to be thrown into this thing, and yes, it is nighttime. The last frame was daytime. This is nighttime. But it's about to be thrown into the scrapyard, which is pretty weird to me. I don't know why it's being thrown into the scrapyard, but it is. And then we got Fern's mom's message. So there was a little bit of an argument in the Discord yesterday about whether or not this is the Onyx Cinder, also in the live stream, and I lost my mind. Come to find out, it is the Onyx Cinder. However, there is a difference to it. It's the exact same ship, and of course, the Onyx Cinder is a very old ship, so it's one of a kind. But there is a difference between this ship and the Onyx Cinder that we've seen in the first 5 episodes. And it's the outside of the ship that is different. Okay? So let me pull this up. Somebody in the Discord, I think it was Star Wars Santa actually. Shout out to Star Wars Santa. Maybe it wasn't. Hang on, let me double check. Who dare try to correct me? It was Star Wars Santa. Okay. I appreciate it, Santa. But when you look at this, when you look outside the window itself, so we're looking here at the Onyx Cinder. Outside this window, you can see there's nothing, right? There's nothing outside the window except for the frame of the window itself. However, when you look at this, which is a scene from episode 5, there is this weird sort of cage outside of the window. I don't know what it is, but there's some weird sort of cage going on out there. And then in this scene, it's not there. So some alterations or something like that happens to the Onyx Cinder. Because it's the same ship. Same seats, same thing, same everything, except for the outside of the ship. So it's possible that the outside of the ship does change. But I don't know. And Fern's mom and the other parents do get a message out to the kids, which we got sort of a look at the beginning of the trailer. I mean, beginning of the last episode. It's a transformer in disguise. Okay. Probably not, but okay. It's the hull destruction sequence. Never, ever touch that. Oh, shit. What is the hull of the ship, though? Chat? Is the hull of the ship this portion or the rest of it? Like, is there any clips from the first trailer that we haven't seen yet? We can go check that out in a second. But what would be considered the hull of this skeleton, or of the Onyx Cinder? Then why would the kids be? Why would the kids be there if it's not the Onyx Cinder? Well, the kids aren't here. This isn't the kids. These are pirates. This lady's a pirate. That guy over there is a pirate. The hull would be the rest of the ship, the main body of the ship. So this would not be the hull. Okay. Interesting. So you're saying that the rest of the ship is blown up and this is all that remains? That would be crazy. There was that big red button that they told him not to click, which obviously is going to come back to be pressed eventually. I like that theory quite a bit, actually. So the reason that this sort of bracket thing outside the window isn't there anymore is because the hull of the ship has gone kabloom. I like that. I like it. Yeah. All right. Let's go back and watch the very first trailer of Skeleton Crew, because this is the second one. You know, like one's a teaser trailer. Oh, not live streams. Not shorts either. Yeah, looking for videos. This is the first official trailer, but there's the teaser trailer. Yeah, right there.
Tomorrow's test will set the course of your entire future.
Don't you ever want to do anything exciting? Like what? What if we could go anywhere we want in the whole galaxy? A real adventure No more pretend. I found something buried in the woods. What do you think it is?
I think it's a lost Jedi temple.
Okay, before we keep going, because so far we've seen everything, it's weird to me. This feels like so long ago. Like, it feels like we watched episode 1 and 2 of this show. It feels like the kids haven't been on At Attin for like months. It's only been a couple weeks, but just to me, it feels very long ago.
Be careful where you step.
Now, this is some trailer magic. Them falling down this tube is not in the first episode. This is when they fall down the tube in episode 5. By the way, can we talk about how we are 5 for 5 on predictions for these episodes? And all of you were telling me that there's no way we see the treasure last week during the prediction stream, and we saw it? Sorry. We haven't seen this yet, have we? No, we have not. So this looks like the hull might be getting destroyed.
We're lost. Really,
We haven't seen this yet. But this was the scene from the other trailer we were just looking at.
really lost.
Tis dangerous out there in space.
Ah, we haven't seen this either. So it does look like the kids are going to hop in the cockpit, which is up here, not here, so they're not going to get eaten. But they're going to try and blast out of here using the thrusters somehow, some way.
Trust no one.
We haven't met the crab yet. We haven't met him yet. And then, of course, we've seen this already.
You're a Jedi.
So only a very, very small amount of scenes we haven't seen yet in that first trailer. Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah. All right, so obviously we're going to predict episode 6 specifically on Monday's live stream. By the way, we are back to Monday this week at 2 p.m. for the prediction stream, so watch out for that. We'll be talking episode 6 specifically. I know we were talking about the end of the show today with Grand Admiral Thrawn and Luke and all that stuff, and it's great. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But we do have to predict episode 6 specifically because we're still saying on Lanupa, the kids don't have any way back home. They don't have SM-33 anymore. They don't have Jod to protect them. They don't have a lightsaber. They don't got anything. Pirates are after them. Jod is probably after them. And they got no help. However, they can call in Kim, call in the New Republic. That will be help. Hopefully, as many of you have mentioned, KB probably recorded the coordinates to At Attin on her visor. So she probably knows the coordinates as well. And we're going to lead into episode 7, which is going to tell us about Jude Law's character of Jod Nawood's backstory, finally confirming whether or not he's a Jedi or not. And only time will tell, I guess. But I do have to get on out of here a little bit earlier today. I'm actually watching Lord of the Rings 2 Towers tonight with some of my friends. So it's a 4-hour movie, so we got to get to watching it. So, but I appreciate you guys. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell, blah, 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 blah. I appreciate all the new members. Shout out to Darth Plagueis, Jessica, Haja, another Michael Love Star Wars. I appreciate you so much more than you will ever know. This was one of my favorite streams. I know when I come up with crazy theories and you guys don't like them, that you think I'm crazy, but when they come to reality, you don't say, Mike, you were right. You just go, oh yeah, Mike's still crazy. But you know, when I'm right, I'm right. And when I've been right 5 for 5 so far, you might want to start believing me. Grand Admiral Thrawn, Luke Skywalker, maybe, maybe not. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. But until then, I appreciate you guys so much more than you will ever know. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video in my pretty face for some of the recommended feed of yours. We got 89 likes. What the hell's going on, chat? Smash a freaking like on your way out. But I appreciate you guys. And until next time, may the force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you guys so much more than you will ever know. Grand Admiral Thrawn time. Possibly Luke Skywalker time. This show will connect to the rest of the Mandoverse. I just know it. I feel it in my bones. But until we get that confirmed, I guess we'll just have to keep speculating. And you guys will just have to keep saying that I'm wrong. But until then, watch out for a short tomorrow. Maybe even a video tomorrow if I'm feeling up to it, and watch out for a live stream on Monday, and then we're watch party on Tuesday. Skeleton Crew episode 6 is almost here. It's crazy. We're coming towards the tail end of this series. It's coming fast. But until then, I hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives. No, I have not seen the whole series. I've definitely not seen the whole series. Samantha next stream? I can do that. I'll tell her you guys miss her because she didn't want, she told me, she said the chat hates me. She told me to my face, she said, chat hates me, so I'm never coming back. So chat hates me, I am never coming back. So whatever you guys did to her, whatever you said to her, clearly she didn't like it. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But until then, I hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody.